Ye-
All right, I think we are good to go.
Right.
How are you? How's everything going?
Good. Life's good. A little hectic like usual, but yeah,
Yeah, totally.
life goes on.
That's amazing. Well, thank you so much for doing this. It's such a treat. Let's see, for our viewers watching, can you introduce yourself a little bit?
Sure. William Barnes. I don't know what to say about myself. I mean, there's lots of things to say about oneself. It's just not one to talk about myself. That's one thing.
Mm-hmm.
I consider myself an artist, but it doesn't pay the bills. So I've done lots of things. I have 2 wonderful children, a great wife, and a dog, and condo in total disarray because I'm just trying to get out of it and move on with our lives. It's not best fit for us, but I have a background in art. I'm sculpture as the emphasis. I went to Southern Oregon University and earned my BFA there. That was really good. That was great for me, like just to be around those type of people. And yeah, that was over 8 years ago now. So I graduated. So not much to say about me. I don't like talking about me.
No, that's great.
Thank you.
Thank
Myself on because I find it totally like weird. I don't know. Everyone else is like, I can hide behind the computer. No, but I'm like, I don't know. I'm always nervous on Zoom, so that's hard. Anyways, yeah, that's
fantastic. So for our people watching, Will is he's our visual artist for this month for Salty Showcase, presented in the digital gallery, which is really fun. You're actually our 2nd ever artist in the digital gallery, so congratulations to you. Thank you so much for doing this. Yeah,
I love that you did that. So
it's awesome. Salty Showcase started primarily to feature performing artists. We have a live show at the end of every month, but obviously we wanted to include visual artists as much as possible. So we started making the digital gallery, and it's awesome having other people join on board. So this month, your exhibit has been featured on the website. It's called Lines Emerging the Image. Do you want to talk about the exhibit? Do you like any sort of general overview first, or if you want, we can talk about some specific pieces.
No, I don't have. I mean, it's they're kind of like, I would call them venting canvases, I guess. Mm-hmm. And there's probably like several layers of me just drawing over it and coming back and leaving it alone. And it's hard for me to describe it. It's more I walk away, the more I can look at it. It helps me to make paintings, and I have to tell myself I'm done, because otherwise I'll keep going and destroy something, which I've done several times. And so, but we can talk about specifics if you like, Adam.
Yeah, I'm just curious, going off of what you were just saying, like, do you have any sort of timeline that you build for yourself where you have to know, like, this is it, the piece is over for me? Or how does that usually work for you?
That might be the best. I don't give myself a timeline. I don't like, I guess that takes some of the weight off of it for me, I guess. Mm-hmm. It's not really important for me how the outcome, really, the end result. While doing it, I think just doing it just in general just is like the best for me, is just to keep doing, just do it. And I know I'm done when I just know I'm done. Yeah, I'm like, it's almost done. You're done. And then some will maybe take like a day or two, or like one day if I'm really into it, but others will take like 3 weeks, and I'll maybe touch them for every other 3 days or 1 day, 2 days in a row. But I don't really give myself a timeline.
Yeah, so what does your process usually look like? Do you work out of a studio? Do you spend a lot of time planning and thinking before you work, or like do you just jump in with materials and sort of
It's
see?
intuitive. My work like is intuitive.
Hmm.
I mean, I do a lot. I do sculpturally. I do a lot of thought process to what I'm doing. I that for me is how it looks three-dimensionally, and like how is it going to position itself here, and I do have to think those ones through. But with painting, I just find it more therapeutic to just do it, to just be intuitive. It's the way I've grown, because I've been in the past, I've been like, oh, what am I going to paint? And I don't care what I'm painting. I don't I don't care. I'm like, oh, and sometimes it's just happenstance, and that'll be like able to pick up, you know being a Michaels and see a nice paint pen, like pink paint pen on clearance. I'm like, that's perfect, I want that. Or it's just let it unfold and happen for the painting kind of thing.
Do you find that your work with 3D art like informs the way you approach painting? Do you see your paintings in 3D, or do you approach it?
Yeah, my paint. Yeah, my paintings are they are sculptural too, because I am building imagery in it, and like my play on lines is just, my lines are what I find important, and like the way I break up my spaces, and not this not and like yeah, I like to sculpt with pens and layers, and layers is what it layers upon layers. Let that one dry, walk away, come back, and or not let it dry and just get it muddy.
Mhm.
But I might be talking too much.
No, this is awesome. I love hearing how people like view
Don't
them
make me
as like
nervous.
the
That's
process of
fair.
doing it.
Um,
Yeah, so I thought maybe if you're okay with it, I'm gonna share my screen and pull up a couple of the images from the gallery and see if you have anything you'd like to say, or I have some questions maybe I could ask. Does that sound okay to you?
you asked away.
Awesome.
Go for it.
Let's start this screen share. All right, can you see me okay?
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. So here's your gallery.
Nice.
Now, lines emerging the image. Can I ask about the title, I guess? You did mention you've got a little statement here in the gallery talking about how the lines were really the basis of this work. Like you started with just lines in an abstract way and saw wherever it took you. That's correct?
That's basically it, and
So did you find like once you using the line as a starting point, once you reached like the image, the images emerged, did you find like you related it specifically to anything concrete, or did the image remain abstract for you?
no, they're concrete. They're concrete because I can see what I was going for.
Mhm.
I mean, if you can look at them and you can interpret it any way you like, I guess.
Yeah, so what extent do you
I,
add narrative to your work?
huh?
To what extent, like, do any of these pieces have a specific narrative to them?
I mean, I would say they're kind of emotionally charged, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
To thought processes around, maybe what I've been going through, if I had, what I've been thinking about, where a dream I might have had. Um, like for example, that one, the top left,
This one, yeah.
was probably it probably took that one was done in a day. And that was an emotionally charged like day to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And it was, it doesn't have to like point out anything for me. The lines is just like it just started with a heart. I just painted the heart on the canvas,
Mm-hmm.
and said, how am I gonna break up this space? And there was a bunch of curvature on the bottom. I broke up that and I curved it to, followed the other lines, used the other lines kind of as building blocks for where I was gonna go next.
Mm-hmm.
But the life's strange, but life's strange, and you close your eyes and get imagery sometimes, from nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
Just sometimes you just see random, or your dreams are just random and weird, or not weird. It's kind of strangely awesome to have things inspire me. I like it. It's just,
Yeah. So do you have any specific artists or pieces of art that you inspire you when you approach pieces, or do you have anyone especially that you consider a major influence for you as an artist?
One of the first paintings that I ever liked of Picasso's was Guernica.
Mm-hmm.
And that was always a kind of a reference point to why I wanted to be abstract. When I was younger, I wanted to be, I like to paint random and wildly. This is my stat, like draw, and I draw all the time. Mm-hmm. And I just like to make nonsense, and it evolves. But a lot of artists, like Richard Serra, I like his use of space and line. Mm-hmm. He's always been inspirational to me as a sculptor. I do like a lot of what's this sorry. I do enjoy like not what's I'm just like blanking out of nervousness, but so what's it for his struggle, as an artist. He never made it. Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah, he never made it as a painter, and Starry Night, and the way he's yeah. I got his, I have that mental image of his self-portrait with him and his ear cut off in my head. And like, I kind of can relate to him. Mm-hmm. Like, he didn't know how great he was, apparently.
Yeah. So speaking of like making it as an artist, do you have any sort of, is there a bar that you set for yourself, or some sort of end goal where you're like, once I've reached this place, I know I've made it? Or what does that journey look like for you?
If I get to that point, I'm here, I made it. I hope I'm 6 feet under or something, because I want to keep doing it and expressing myself. I don't want to stop. Mm-hmm. I don't want to be that Jim Morrison with no more words or lines to write upon my paper sitting in Paris or something. Mm-hmm. I'm curious to where it'll take me, but I think if I keep doing it, I'll appreciate it. Mm-hmm. I'll appreciate it, and hopefully I like others to see it, even though I'm bashful, or kind of makes me nervous being on the spot. I don't like that, but I would like to make it one day as I would like to have some giant sculptures out there, because really that's what I like to do. This painting is just it's just an affordable way for me to express myself without causing too much mess or investing too much money we don't have, or I mean.
Yeah. Are you working on any sculpture projects right now?
Currently I am. I've one I've allowed myself to not get stretched into a bunch. I do have several, that go unfinished, because I just like, meh. I don't like not that I don't like it, it's just like, it doesn't do anything for me. And if it doesn't do anything for me, how can I ever say it's going to do anything for anyone else? And that's not being too critical of it, but it's just like, you just kind of know when something, like a work of yours, it's like your little fish in a fish bowl. It's like growing, but all these fishes are like your projects, and they're just swimming around. But when that fish isn't gonna make it, he's kind of floating and wavering. It's not to quality, it's not to your standards, and you just give up on these projects because your time is better spent elsewhere on the ones that you'll end up liking. So
yeah, absolutely. I think being able to recognize like when the energy you're putting into it isn't producing what you want, and being able to walk away is such a valuable skill as an artist.
Thank
you. Yeah, awesome. Cool stuff. Well, next time you have a sculpture piece that's out and about for us to see, please let us know, because I'll say, for people who don't know, like, I've worked with Will in the past for a different art festival, and I've seen some of his sculpture work, and it's really some cool stuff. So you'll have to keep us updated on new stuff coming out.
I will have to.
So let's see, let's look at a couple more of these pieces. I did have a question about this one. Well, obviously they're also interesting. How often do you frame your work? Do you find that frames change the pieces for you at all, or how do you choose what you frame and what you don't?
That one just happened to be work out like that, because it worked out, because that I was like, no paint. I had that vintage frame, and I'm like, none of my paintings are fitting it. And then I had this weird old left, that's an old unused canvas from like 2001, and it fit perfectly. It just happened to work, and I think it worked great with that one. It did. It really captured like this, like I would say that's like an elegant shell around that one. Maybe that's like too fancy of a way to put it, but it's like that's the like the halo of it, or the aura of that painting for me, and I like it.
I like thinking of it as like a halo. That's really nice. Good stuff. And then this piece right here, I'll say a lot of the pieces in this exhibit remind me in some way of like landscapes, or like forms. Like this kind of reminds me of a mountain, or a lot of it just has a sense of like, natural formations. Is that a part that plays into your art at all?
Yeah, it is a lot of my art. A lot of sculpturally, I do have a lot of organic forms and natural shapes. I try not to steer away from too much, because they leave me. I like because mainly as a sculptor, I like installation pieces that have no objective meaning to them, and they're just forms. They're just forms and shape, and they occupy the space they're in, and kind of like become within the space. And that, for me, the nature's like a good source of positive inspiration, because nothing better than what is like what is already perfect. So
do you spend a lot of time outdoors, or like scouting out places to put pieces, or forms to give you inspiration?
They do, and I like to play with the landscape in my mind, because I like looking at it. Like, oh, I could put a sculpture there. I could play off that line, or how I'm creating within my mind when I'm out in nature. I like like a rocky landscape, and see these like forms coming out of them in natural materials like wood or metal or rock, which is but I mainly also use natural materials. I don't like to use too many inorganics, because it's not kind of true to myself. But yeah, I would say so.
Yeah, and then what's been interesting for me with this exhibit is that, like you said, there are so many organic forms appearing in it, but then the colors are so vivid and so kind of extraterrestrial is a word that I thought about for a couple of these.
So,
yeah. What's your relationship with color? Do you usually work with this kind of palette, or does it range pieces?
This is my palette, just bold. I like this palette for now.
For now, for sure.
For now.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, extraterrestrial might be a good word. It's a little out there. It's out, not too far-fetched though,
Yeah, awesome. Let's see, we've got a couple more down here. Anything you want to add about these?
No. See, the one on the left probably is the beginning of the study, which I didn't. It's nice. They're paired nice and together like that, because that one's at the beginning. That was like one of the first ones that started me deciding I'm gonna do forms and lines. And with that one, I can see how I developed. It was like kind of like calm and like long, and then I can see on the other one where it's just like chaos for me, and the color, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't. It's not like, is it organized chaos?
Yeah.
It's like organized ish.
Mm-hmm. So I'm curious, how often in your work do you organize pieces? Like, do you have lots of studies? Is it common for you to do lots of things like based on a single theme? How often do you kind of play with
Um,
exploring something once and then walking away?
maybe it's kind of. I don't like to go back, so I would say I would probably explore something and walk away. It's not like keep, just like keep trying to evolve it, and it doesn't change that much. It's like a gradual change for me,
Mm-hmm.
that I kind of like, okay, that's just not me anymore. It's just like a person. We keep growing and
Mm-hmm.
learning and trying to better ourselves for the most part, and um not to be too preachy on it, but yeah, I can't stick with a single way of doing things. It was just drive me insane.
Absolutely.
I
So I
I
think
I
that,
changing.
mhm. Yeah, super cool. So I know you said Picasso is an artist that you like to study and kind of you appreciate a lot of his work. And he has periods of his career that people could look back and be like, oh, that's the blue period. Like
Yeah.
looking back on your career so far, could you pick any like moments in your body of work and say, this is a period that was this for me, or now I'm in this period?
Um. Yeah. Well, I mean, I think it's too soon to tell if there's a ton of periods for me, because
Mhm.
I've been, for a long time I'd not been doing it. I didn't feel like it, wasn't inspired. So, I mean, we could probably do like, I mean, high school is like like that kid who just, like drawing in his notebook like any other kid, like thousands of other kids. And then me in college, it'd be me like deciding what I want, but feeling feeling unrefined in college, and just like it wasn't fine tuned. And then after college, I just had to, I to be honest, I had no inspiration to do it.
Mhm.
Well, no energy to do it. I was like working all the time, and just I didn't forget about it because it always bugged me that I wouldn't be painting. And then I guess as of late to a few years ago is like just trying to find a footing in pushing myself to do it, because it does bring me a lot of joy to do it.
Mhm.
And now I just think of them as like, yes, I get to create. Yes, I get to make. It
Amazing.
doesn't
Do you
matter.
set time aside each day? Do you have like a schedule, like these hours are when I get to go to my studio, or does it just happen whenever you've got free time?
Well, luckily I got like just a nice little art room in my house where I can paint, and I do sculptures um, at my parents' house. I do my sculptures there because I do work with metals, and so I get to go there. But that's I don't really find time for it because I got probably like 40, 50 million. I got a lot of projects. I try to, I don't know, I find it tiring trying to entertain this brain of mine.
Hmm. Yeah,
Isn't
I'm
that,
definitely the kind of artist who like I have to have a million different things in the air at once.
yeah.
That's how I function best.
Yeah. That's true. So I just find it hard. To ever just be like, okay, maybe if I was like, the one thing I've never done is try to make a living of it and do that.
Hmm.
I might have more. I might be like, oh, and I bet that would be very peaceful for me to do that. Is just like, oh, this is your job now. You get to do it. I know it's not impossible, but it's not impossible. But I have so many loves and interests, and I love my life. I love my little family. I like it simple, and I don't know. Quite good question. Touche. So
Great. Let's see. I think we've got, this is the last piece. This one, yeah. What do you have to say about this one? This one sort of reminds me, like, I mean, obviously it's a first instinct for viewers to like to add storylines or narratives to pieces. So like the basic me would say this reminds me of some sort of animal. Obviously it doesn't have to be narrative like this. Was there anything specific that you approached this piece with?
I just for me that one does have a narrative. Like it is, and I'll point out my intention. There is a serpent, like I guess if a serpent in it, roughly there on the left, I guess. And I did approach it kind of like interestingly. I think I did that like one Sunday where it's like first Saturday during the weekend, and I was just like, oh, this is the serpent biting. I was like, I just named it. I'm like, this serpent biting the heel. Serpent bites the heel, and like I just went off that narrative and like that religious story, and I just went off that one where this and so it does. Yeah, you were kind of, I'm glad it conveyed that to you, that there was a narrative to it, because that one was kind of like, I don't know, like embodying my feelings on frustrating issues or different types of things I do to read and learn. And so yeah.
Yeah,
it is
awesome. Yeah, it seems like that's been a big theme for this exhibit for you, is like line and form being some sort of pathway to emotion.
Yeah.
Which is interesting because usually like people can view lines and stuff like that as very sterile, whereas like your association with it with like raw emotion, it comes across like so vividly from the pictures.
And to be honest, I was very calm painting all those. I was calm, which is, but I was calm, relaxed, like I was being able to put what I was felt prior to getting into that headspace of painting. As I guess that was a good way of I being able to put it in my mind's eye, I guess. How I felt or how I didn't feel.
Yeah, absolutely. I think art can be such an amazing tool for like expression and also introspection. Finding a way to pull stuff out of us and putting it in a new medium and being able to examine it from that new perspective can be so powerful.
Fun to do that.
Yeah. So that's the exhibit, Lines Emerging the Image. Anything you'd like to add? Last words about the exhibit?
Thank you for the opportunity. It's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. So for our people watching, this will be available on the website for viewing for a couple more days, I think through the end of the week, if that's okay with you, Will, and then we'll take it down to preserve your work. This Q&A will be available on the website for anyone who wants to check it out. Obviously, it's saltyshowcase.com, and then if you want to go straight to the gallery, just do /digital-gallery. Yeah, so I'll stop the screen share, which is down here. I usually like to end just asking people, if there's anything you're reading or watching or listening to right now that you'd recommend. I'm always in search for new art or new fun things to consume. If you have any recommendations.
To read, You know, I like Wikipedia, if you can like it or not, but I suggest just try to filter what you want, but maybe learn more about the place you're on, or the atmosphere, the biosphere, learn more about your planet, because that's what's important. Learn chemistry and science. Those are fun, always entertaining. And you can anything that interests you. You like hydrogen, go learn about hydrogen. Go learn about the most basic element. And that's what I like to do. I don't read. Like one of my teachers said in college, I don't read. She's like, I'm like, go walk into her office, and there's like probably, no joke, like 500 books this thick. It looked like Merlin's lair. But so I'm like, do you read all these? She's like, I skim. I'm like, and that didn't click till way later to be like, okay, nope. And I like doing that, even if it's pointless. It all serves.
Pointless. Learning things feels pointless.
No, I contradicted. It all does have a meaning. It's nothing you learn for nothing. So.
All right. Well, that seems like such a great note to end on. Thank you so much. It's so good to see you.
Happy to see you too.
Yeah. All right. Take care. Thank you.
See you later.